What is up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video. Yes, I know I always say it's gonna be a quick one, and I'm always lying, but I'm actually gonna try to keep this under 15 minutes. I just want you to point you to two different videos. I want to point you to, well, actually three videos. One I didn't share in my community tab, but let's start with some housekeeping. If any of you all want to send me anything that you want to talk, I want to Edward Anderson 300K at gmail.com is tonight. I'm already in email back and forth with from before. I'll make sure I'll respond to the emails that I send you because that'll be the new updated email. Also, make sure subscribers. Let's try to get it to over 100. I am gonna be putting videos out there. I'll be 34, spending the last 2 hours. So, and then I'm pretty much in. But anyway, so you got that. Then you've got the election on Tuesday, and then we don't even 100% know we're even going to have a winner by the end of that day. It's gonna be an interesting week. I'll try to put together a really good panel as far as the weekend to kind of recap it. Maybe I something on. But I know for me and for my circle and stuff, 2021 is gonna be bright. But that's not really what I wanted to talk to you about today. So first of all, I want to point you to three videos. The first video is mediocre tutorials reviews. The more I listen to him, the more I was like, oh, this dude gets it. He's very sophisticated in how he promotes the information, which is why because you always are kind of like wary on people if they have higher subscriber counts, because it's like in order to have a higher subscriber account, be black, be in this and talk about these things, you got to kind of do the roommate good job bound. He's done a very good job staying to the talking points, and I can see it in how some people respond to his, but still putting the information out there through the flag of being logical and critical. So definitely good channel. He doesn't need my help. I just and shout out because I found him through Solo TV 84. And he's with go. The last video he has is a video that has Derek Jackson. He's breaking down some of the stuff Derek Jackson has. That's kind of like the least important video. Kind of is what I'm about to video. BGS just launched, which all I gotta say is mind blown in the last 3 minutes as far as realistic views. But some of the other stuff, he definitely has it right when it comes to black people in credit, and he definitely has it right when it comes to this. I just wish he'd stay in certain lanes and out of others. Johnsons, the Currys, the PhDs to really 100% validate, because if this is true, it's an insane. And I'm not even gonna tell you what this is really significant, but check out the whole video yesterday, which is I'm not even gonna say her name because it's not very good thing about the Sphere, very good conversations. And basically, if you all saw it, you already know what it is. You haven't seen it, I'll try to, somebody needs to go put a timestamp with when she pops on, and insanity is that. The reason why I want you all to see these videos and then recontextualize what I'm saying right now is this. No matter what happens in the election, these things happen every 2 cycles. The truth is, Trump wins doesn't change shit. Biden wins for the most part, it doesn't change shit either. The stuff that needs to be done, as far as getting this message out, will not change. You have to look at this in cycles, not 4 years, but even 2-year cycles. And there is going to be, you already hear it, whether people agree or disagree, people are hungry for an evolution and how this content gets projected out. And I'm excited about that. Like, one of the people, and that I often talk about, I need to talk about more nameless protagonists. I actually think he's better at putting out this information than I am when it comes to the gynocracy. And the main reason why I did, well, at least better than what I'm willing to put in, and I think Sigma was really good too, but Sigma talked about a lot of other things. Him and Sigma are actually very similar. But Sigma, obviously has better things to do, so he can't do this stuff full time. But the reality is, if you're subscribed to me, you definitely need to be subscribed to Nameless. And I'm probably going to start promoting his channel more than anybody's, because as I start to move towards dividing my attention to other things, more business stuff, and focusing on that. There still needs to be somebody that's really going to hit that battering ram of what the gynocracy is and really bring reality to the dudes that are willing to hear it. And I was the only one that was really willing. I mean, BGS obviously is where I got it from in focus, but the truth is nobody really likes to talk about the gynocracy. Not really. Not really. They don't like to say the word. And somebody needs to say the word and actually say this is what the reality is, not get rid of all the fog. And Nameless is somebody who's definitely stepped up to do that. And if you're subscribed to me, you definitely need to be subscribed to him, because he's going to give a lot more context. He's easier to listen to as well. And I see a lot of LAR movement, a lot of Sigma Sep focusing on the topics that needs to be focused on that nobody really wants to talk about. So with that being said, the biggest problem is not the women. The truth is the women are going to do what they're going to do. Like I said, 80% of them are going to do it. 20% of them are going to be, on the team. But those 20% are not really going to get loud until you start to see movement amongst the other, like that 50 to 30%. Because, and that means the pain has to be so great that they realize there is no other option. And even if they start to come back to the table, you can't trust it. That's the thing. And so the problem is you have, when it comes to black men, and keep in mind, this is me saying it, I'm talking about as far as really understanding what's going on, is you have too many BGS mentioned this. This is the one thing he did mention, is black men believe they should get crumbs. Black men believe they should be at the bottom. There is some nobility that black men have at believing what it was, the Greek god. I'm about to watch that blood Zeus thing in a minute. What's the Titan that had to hold up the world? And there's a picture where you have a black man holding up the world and you have a black woman and children praying. Like, the reality of the situation is black men, they have been brainwashed to believe there is nobility in that. So somebody like me, who I'm pragmatic, I'm a very pragmatic person, and then you look at other, like all of us, in the sphere, even somebody like Jap that talks a lot of shit, Jap definitely engages with black women. It's not like, oh, he dates out and he just talks shit. No, a lot of that stuff, you got to take it like Corey Holcomb, as well. Chicagoans can go in. And so it's always projected that we hate this, we hate that, which for the most part, a lot, especially with the content creators, it's actually not a lot of anger. Most of us deal with black women. It's just we're unapologetic in calling out what we see. So, and I'm glad to see my numbers have popped up relatively quickly. So, yeah, I like that, man. The G virus. Oh, man, I like that. I might start calling it that. But see, to say it's a virus is to say it's something. It's more like the G virus sounds better, but it's more like the G disease. But, we'll see. That'll be a good way to be titling things. That way the algorithm, I like that. Appreciate that. But the truth is, the real work is you have way too many dudes that number one, have never been exposed to this information. And number two, they are willfully ignorant. When you look at like BGS's video, all LGBT, black women or rights, I used to tell people that there's 3 pillars to like how the gynocracy gets held out. One of them, like as far as economic pillars, one of them is the government. So it's not just welfare, but it's actually government jobs. And black women have definitely are 3 times their number as far as the percentage rate of government jobs. Then you have welfare, which gives them tax benefits, such as, specific tax benefits that is tied to the child. The support. So they put the article out, and I still have that article that's saying women don't pay women don't pay child support when they're ordered to at a much higher rate. And I can promise you that shit is up to the dudes via you have the corporate sector, aka retail. But the fourth one you ought to pay attention to this election. I understand you all talk about there's a certain percentage of black men vote for Trump. I get all of that. Just because they Trump does not mean they're voting for Republican. That's another thing y'all need to pay attention to. One North Carolina is North Carolina ticket the same get up there. Black men pretty much polity in almost every fucking city. A lot of these places, the men are running against other candidates, and you look at how the women vote. I'll give you a perfect example. There was a black man that tried to run on the Democratic ticket. We know black women voted 95% of rate Democrat. The Democratic ticket for the mayor of this city of Raleigh, and then you had a white woman that's been in there for 12 years, Nancy, and then you got a new one, and so she was done, and then you got the new one. Black women, the numbers got depressed amongst black women for that black man because they went with their woman side. Now, to be fair, well, no, I voted for the brother because I voted for Nancy at first, but once she was gone, I didn't know this new chick. And I didn't like what she was saying because Nancy was an independent. So that was a little bit special situation. So they are choosing the woman, as is every last one, no, but we don't look at things as individuals. We look at the averages. We look at the macro numbers depending on the zone. So if you listen to the last 3 or 4 minutes of what BGS said, there's one nugget in there that's like a bomb nugget, which is something I never knew, which is something that, quite frankly, is kind of hard to believe. To the extent that I can see it's true, but it's just I need to verify it. I need to hear from more people than just Tone. But it's definitely something I'm not gonna be completely too surprised if it's true. And I want you all to hear it like I heard it. Hear it from him, not hear it from me. And that's why I'm telling you, focus, listen to the last 3 or 4 minutes. Because BGS talks amongst the whole video. And most of the video is just really giving examples of articles based on LGBT people that are running more, and it segues. So anyway, and if you all have seen it, okay, good. I'm not buffering. Timeout. Y'all heard most of what I got to say. Yeah, I know it's switching to live chat. All right, sorry if I'm buffering. I shouldn't be buffering that much anymore. But my point is, you have dudes that, and I'm not going to put out certain names because I'm not trying to start, but you got dudes that they literally can't see it. And what we have to understand in this space as black men, it's time to start dividing people up. And I'm not talking about in this space. I'm talking about the goal of this space, if you are going to go mainstream, and this is why I brought up people like Nameless. I would even throw out there Kevin. You need people out there that can get this information out in a way that is not straight diesel or Everclear liquor. That it is between hard lemonade and liquor that people can absorb, because you can't just take people from 1 to 10. You got to take them, it's gradients. You got to take them 2, 3, 4, 5. And somebody like me, as hard as I go, I'm more like a 7. And you can't go from 1 to 7. You just can't without having an emotional reaction. So and one of the things that needs to happen in the next couple of years is we need to start exposing this to as many black men as possible, but not necessarily the hardcore stuff. And you need to start dividing up black men. We need to get a real percentage of what are the black men that can accept this information, and the ones that can't. And the ones that just want to die on that hill, I'm not saying to not deal with them at all, but they just got to be allowed to die on that hill when it comes to the gynocracy. Right now, they just have to be. Because at the end of the day, that's like people they're kind of like the types that when slavery was over, they just refused to leave the plantation because it was all they knew. And this is not me denigrating anybody. This is just saying you have to move forward. And see, and one of the things BGS did mention when it comes to SYSBM, the choice has already been made. Now you have to understand it. Like people, and when you listen to, when I was talking and everybody was talking to this woman yesterday on the Roger Report, it's very obvious. They're not budging. They're not. And by the time they do, the amount of bad will and debt that's just been created, they're not budging unless they got to be bailed out. They are going to die the way they are. And I've heard BGS say, They are who they are. If you deal with them, you have to accept that. And that never resonated more than when I was hearing her. Because I heard it, but it's but at the same but you know, but it's like, and I've heard him say it multiple times, but and like I said, when I say that 80-20% rule, we get the Rainy one, we get the Kendras, like I said, 20%, 80%. But you don't really hearing women like that, it resonates. It's like, damn, they in the face of everything will slick, they will be like, it's kind of like the Japanese. They will put that sword in their chest. They will go kamikaze. They are dying on this and dare you to what you gonna do. And it's just, and it doesn't matter. We all have our own part circles. We all have that. So this idea that, oh, it's because I'm insulated and I don't know, bullshit. Because when it comes to a lot of things that black women talk about, they don't know. Black women talk about rape like they done all been through it. Black women talk about getting kidnapped like they done all been through it. Or they done had somebody directly. And all the pain stuff they talk about, they all feel it because they want to be empaths. But when it comes to us, everything's segmented. And it's like, what? Well, damn. It's like talking to you all. It's like talking to a white person about racism. All the dancing, the coy bullshit, it's the same shit. It's literally the same shit, just switch with gender. It's the same thing we're talking to a lot of black immigrants when it comes to ADOS shit. Yeah, you got something to understand it. And there's nothing to talk about because they get it and then we can move on. But then you got people, they are just going to protect the lie. And you have to be like, well, I'm type of person to negotiate. But if you got somebody that's gonna tell you it's not a problem when you see the building burning, but they still want to stay in the building, and then they want to wait until they can't get out to start screaming. I mean, I don't know what you do with that. I just don't. So I want you all to see these 3 videos because it really ties into a theme. It has with the election. It doesn't go like this. Going forward, you know, black men are gonna have to get real serious about what's in our best interest, independent of other groups. The thing about it is, black men we understand what being black male, being first versus only means. The women, for the most part, don't get that. The women don't get that their fate is tied to the fate of black men and what black men do. They don't understand that. Black men, it's a lot easier for them to understand that from a practical standpoint, or that you're going to have to replace the women if you go that route, you know, either with non-ADOS or whatever. The women don't get that. And they're not gonna get it. The ones that do will. The ones that don't, you're not changing. Period. And when I listen to her, it's like this. I'm seeing all these dudes, different ages, different experiences, different backgrounds, kids. Some got kids, some are married, some were married, some never been married, some no kids. All of them, for the most part, deal with black women or have dealt with black women. We all grew up with black women. Yet she's just holding her horse, because see, for her, it's this, oh, I just need to protect the emotional flank. And what she doesn't understand is all of that is a reflection of how she's absorbed the information that we've given. She says she's listening to me, she's listening to Kevin, and remember that video I did with you with the chick with Facebook, where she did the same thing. And it's not IQ, it's emotional intelligence. And the reality is, the one thing I'm gonna end this video with, it's 22 minutes. The one thing I'm gonna end this video, exactly, take it hard, in this video with is, the one thing that a lot of you all that may get frustrated with this and get upset about it, what I will give you is this. Nobody controls the environment, not even white people, not even the government. The environment is like tectonic plates. You're not moving them. And the environment, the environment is moving extremely quickly, and the environment is creating a chaotic situation. It creates a hell of a lot of opportunity for those that are able to seize it in a lot of different areas of activity. If you're not positioned, you need to get fucking real about being positioned. BGS is definitely somebody you need to listen to, because he will give you a window into the future in the next 2 or 3 years, if not 6 months. Glendon Cameron, if you need a nigga that's capitalistic minded, Glendon will say the same shit. And they will definitely give you enough a window into what's going on then a lot then to get prepared. If you are in a position, you just need to reinforce it. And when I say that, I was listening to somebody who was talking about digital marketing and how he was doing a webinar, how he was talking about, he was very good at communicating people that are not in digital marketing, but what they need as far as like, he talked about these three people that are reliant, people that are self-reliant, and then he said there's a third group of people, which are people that have been impacted by change. Meaning they need to change the way they think. They need to accept things they might not accepted before. They need to accept skill sets and step where we are before when they might not have. And their failure to do that is going to create pain in their life that might kill them. It might put you homeless. The thing about black men is because for the most part, this is not anything new for us. You're seeing a country they're having, for the most part, that these people are having to deal with shit they never had to deal with. Versus us, it's Tuesday. We're used to being locked out of corporate America. We're used to having being 3 times as good. We're used to not having any safety nets. We're used to having being able to rely on our skills or rely on business. We're used to all of that. So there is no comfort. And it's kind of like sleeping outside, like what they say, what soldiers say. When you get used to that, it feels weird sleeping in the house. Because they talk about the marshmallow effect with the bed and stuff like that. That's what I hear. I'm not a soldier. All these other groups, like the Batman and the Dark Knight Rises, they are, it's like they're Bane. Or Batman. And then it's like we're Bane. Except for the most part, we don't have that fucking mask weakness. But you do have black men that have that weakness though. And those are the dudes that are comfortable. And I'm not telling people they need to kick out their women or anything like that. I'm saying just to be prepared for anything. That's all I'm saying. Because so you never know. But chaos actually can benefit black men. And I don't wish for that shit. I don't. Because I make money. So I need a certain level of stability. But if it is what it is. And what I would tell you all is you all need to be unapologetic. And I'm not saying you all have to communicate what you're going to do and why. It doesn't matter. You all also need to be it's just business. You got to take your emotions out of it. Like, it was one person that made, it was 104 comments in BGS, and one of them said, oh, we're being attacked by demonic forces. Black men got to kill that shit. Y'all got to kill that emotional bullshit where you all lean to Christianity or lean to your religion. Like, you got to stop doing that. Stop talking about these demonic forces because you're making it seem like people are not doing things on purpose. People are adults. They know what they're doing. Don't give a fuck about it. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to end it too. When you all see this video and you hear what BGS says in the last 3 minutes, you will know what I'm saying when you fucking hear it. I want you to think about the abortion rate. I got to get updated to see, is it 50 million? Is it 20 million? I think it's 50 million. And I want you to combine that shit with what BGS is going to say. And I want you to then pay attention to what that chick said and what you hear a lot of these women say. These are factual things. If it's true, what he said, that is a fact, undeniable. It is a number. It is not a survey. It is not an opinion. It is a number. Just like how we know what the single motherhood rate is, and then the abortion rate. 20 million is bad, 50 million is worse. Just like that is a number. Even if you say it's 20 million, which I think it's 50, I got to go get the numbers back. You combine those two statistics, like King Segma said, they're not your women. They're not. And really it's just a matter of, when are you going to figure that out by the time it's too late? Because these millennials already get that. A lot of them already get it. So what's going to happen is, this is really a conversation more for millennials than anybody. The Xers are already the age they're in. Boyce Watkins, they're already in the 40s or 50s. So that is what it is. But a lot of millennials, we're either in right now hitting 40, or we're like 20, really 24 to 40. So what are you going to do? People can say what they want to say about me. I'm 34 years. I'll be 34 by the end of tonight, and I have no kids. But the reality is, I can always have kids. A lot of y'all have, and everybody. I'm not saying I don't have any I don't have any negatives. I've had things. I've had like I've had tax situations I've had to cover. But I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. And when you hear shit like that, and I think of some of these dudes in this space that are very kind of more purple pill minded. It's not me being angry. It's what it is. It's not my problem that like I said, I know a lot of happy black married couples, in different situations. But again, I charge that to the 20%. Another thing I'm gonna leave you to is it looks like things are flatlining where the marriage rate is gonna be 25%, and the single motherhood rate is gonna be like around 75% amongst people who have kids. It looks like that's what the new normal is gonna be. So really, it seems like the quote unquote, now we still haven't dealt with the 80% divorce rate. They're activated by women. But yeah. So it's crazy. Yeah, she did say feel a lot. She never said I thought. She always said I feel, I feel, I feel, I feel, I feel. And no, and I didn't get that. Obviously, it was a whole bunch of people on the panel. So it's not. Roger did a very good job, actually. Probably a better job I would have did with even half those amounts on the panel. And I want to give him that straight up. But like, it was a lot of people on the panel. But I did think about that, and I did want to point that out, saying everything about you is feeling, meaning you're not thinking. When people say they feel, that's like talking to a child. And I know what BGS says about women aren't children, but they're operating like it. When you are in your feelings constantly in an entire conversation and you're responding to me with feelings, we weren't responding. See, and that's another thing that should have got reset. See, she was acting like we were just exchanging feelings. I'm like, no, motherfucker, we're telling you what the fuck it is. This is why Roger kept cutting it off and having to bring her back to reality on certain things, because she wanted to feel her way through it, in which things can be magical, candy, cake, and rainbows. Like, I forget one point, and Roger was saying those two things can't exist at the same time. It's impossible. And she really didn't want to accept that. It was one thing that was obvious, but she wanted to say, no, fuck that. My feelings say it can. And so at that point, the reason why that conversation went as long as it did was to prove a point. That was an infomercial as to what the fuck we're talking about. And that's why it was very important, actually, for Roger, even though what's called jokes about the wrong report, that's why it was important for Roger to keep dudes from jumping on her. Because you can't be like, oh, well, she got in her feelings because dudes started wilding out with her. That's one of the powers of Kevin Samuels' channel, is these women are saying what they're saying to their own volition. So you're getting a good understanding as to what they think, how they think, and why. And by the way, it's not just black women that go to Kevin's channel. You get a good, because you can't say it's being pushed one way or the other. It's open-ended. So anyway, go check out those videos. I'd say check out BGS's first. If you haven't seen the Roger Reports, make sure you subscribe as well. Let's get him over 1,000. He's at like 680, I think, 670. And definitely subscribe to Nameless as well. I'll start promoting him a lot more. And then check out that Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. He just hit 50K. I think his videos are good videos to like comment off of as well. So yeah, anyway, appreciate the super chat. Yeah, Memphis, she did. And Memphis, I asked her a simple question, and you notice how she got angry when I asked it. Everything I said, she didn't get mad, but when I said this, she got upset. I said, okay, if that's true, then show me where it is. Because the simple question I often ask is, show me where black men as a collective group can compel their women to do something. Show that to me anywhere. And I'm asking, I'm not being ignorant. I want to know, because I don't know everything. It's some things that I could have missed, like this thing that BGS talked about. I fucking damn sure missed it. But it just reinforces what I already think. But she started to get upset because she did not know. She knew, and then she said, your ability to choose a mate. And if you really think about what she said, first of all, understand something. When it comes to arranged marriages, The man is a hell of a lot more considered than what the woman is. What the man wants is a hell of a lot more considered as far as matchmaking generally than what the woman's shit is. This is why it's always framed in such a way as it's like a woman being sentenced to prison or something. But it tells you, and then you have to understand that she said too, you know, she the fact that she said, which is rare to hear a woman admit to it being matriarchal, she's cool. And that's the thing, it's like, well, your position where you're okay with things as they are. You think we're the ones trying to, when people talk about division, whether black men or black men, what they're really saying is, my mentor used to say this, they're saying you're being a rebel rouser. The status quo is fine. You are trying to wreck the status quo. Just like how Britain had its colonies, and then when America tried to do their own shit, which kind of paved its way for all the other countries to be independent, even though not as independent, America was seen as wrecking the status quo. You know, even when the North wanted to go a different direction in the economy when it came to slavery, but not for necessarily moral reasons, the South saw that as wrecking the status quo. So my thing, and that's how you need to deal with it. Whenever somebody talks about division, and I'm thinking about this out loud, but this is actually a really good way to counter that. You say, okay, I'm not for the status quo. This is what I say the status quo is. Do you agree with this? Because if they don't agree with it, then they got to tell you why they don't agree with it. But if they do agree with it, then you tell me, okay, so why are you protecting the status quo? And I'm glad I saw that chat comment. Because the truth is, you got a lot of black men that they're invested in the status quo. And they don't even know it. They don't even know how they harm other black boys. They talk about, well, you need to come and save the community. Well, motherfucker, same need to help these boys. No, you're killing them. You're destroying them. Because you protect you basically allow the women to focus on them and these girls first. Shout out to Sub-Zero, who has an issue with Black Girl Magic and Black Girls Rocks. When I talk to him on the phone, he talks about that like pretty much every other conversation, even though I haven't talked to him in a minute. Because and then the women actually have a nerve to create this narrative later on where, oh, well, the boys are just not catching up. It's insane when you think about it. And you don't see that in any other group, not with the men. And then to be kind of as oblivious as she was a spit in all of our faces. But we needed to endure that because dudes that are married, dudes that have good relationships, they need to know what the fuck it is. And we need to have a lot of evidence of that so they can't keep on hiding behind their own relationship. So conversations like that is necessary. And this is why when dudes often they can do whatever they want to do in their channel, but they campaign for why other dudes shouldn't have it. There's a purpose to have that. Because there's always going to be the market for people that don't know is much bigger than the market for people that do know. It's not even the, it's statistic. You can't even calculate how many people don't know versus how many people do know. You can't. Yeah. And that's what they think patriarchy is. And you wonder why you have situations like Archer. Archer, make sure you email me, EdwardAnderson300K at Gmail, or hit me up on Facebook. And you wonder why women like Jeannie Mai, who can be a tiger mom, because one thing about tiger women is tiger women are practical. Yeah, they're gonna if they see a hole in the defense, they're gonna blitz through, they're gonna run through it, but they're practical too. You know, and what you saw was Jeannie Mai's pragmatism. I'm Asian, I'm 40. And really being Asian and being 30 is a big deal. You got women that are 53 thinking they can do OnlyFans. So it's still a pragmatism with it that you can negotiate with if you're willing to do so. I've often told you, black men can accept matriarchy. And that's why, remember, when I asked her, when she said matriarchy, I made sure to ask her, what is matriarchy to you? And she said matriarchy is when women run everything, or in charge. That's not matriarchy. That is not matriarchy. The woman is the woman has the purview of the house, but it's not like a dude can't override that if that's necessary. And the line of who you are is based on the who your mother is, but that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that that's who runs you. See, women, black women interpret it that way because that's what they know. ADOS black women. And you have other women that want to play like that but still keep their cultural benefits. That's when you see certain women kind of code switch. But what she said was not a matriarchy. It's a gynocracy. That's not a matriarchy, what she was saying. So we got to get our terms right. Jewish people are a matriarchy. I could get black men, and by the way, black men are not dealing. I'm telling you right now, black men are not settling for a matriarchy. Black men will not settle for a matriarchy with black women. Black men that go SYSBM, they will deal, the way they would frame it is they will say it's called being egalitarian. And like, so Jenny Mai is like an egalitarian situation. And that's to this thing that Jeezy is willing to put up with that shit. Because Jeezy can always get rid of her and do something else. He's got the value to do that. But for everybody that doesn't have a Jeezy status and Jeezy money, when we say egalitarian, we're talking about cooperation. Black men are not playing matriarchal games with black women no more because there's no trust. To do the cooperation game, there has to be trust that we're on the same team. And this is why you have to have black men have to be deluded into believing that. Because that's a requirement of doing that. And it's funny because and I said I was in this video, I'm about to end it now. When I hear Dominicans or Cubans or whatever, you know, people that obviously would be more light skinned, but they're black, say they're not black, black people can instantly point out that that's a delusion. Now, I always say, let people Roger has said this too. Roger says, if somebody tells you what they about, I believe them. I've always said something similar to that. Don't try to accept the opposite. Don't try to change people. They're telling you who they are. It's the same thing with black men when it comes to this shit. They're telling you who they are. Generally, changing them isn't going to work. Not until they've suffered pain. We call it a nigga wake-up call. Well, these niggas are going to have a bitch nigga wake-up call. And a lot of times, a lot of dudes that come into this space, this is why black women are very quick to say who hurt you. Because you got to have a bitch nigga wake-up call in order, and usually multiple times, in order to wake up. And that's if you ever do. You have dudes that they'll get married 3 times, you fucking let them. Because they actually buy into what she said, where it's always your fault. It's a very fine line with taking accountability and then blaming yourself for everything. Because you notice how they'll take accountability, but they never change up the type of woman they deal with. Anyway, let me get the last super chat. Yeah, it's a bitch. You heard it first from me. A bitch nigga wake up call. Appreciate it, Force Windu. Y'all got something out of that. So make sure y'all go to Classic. Appreciate the viewership. Get them likes up. Make sure you go to Classic Men Magazine and subscribe to it if you haven't. Just do that. Do me a favor. Do it. Click on the first video. Listen to it. Give it a like. It's a good video. It's an older video. It's like a year old, but it talks about the quality of life. Edward Anderson 300K is my at gmail.com. NBA fan. Archer hit me up on Facebook. NBA fan. Jenny Mai is an excellent case study, and there's a lot of people that's like her, where they're coming to negotiate because they're gonna protect their quality of life. And say what you want to about Jeezy, I don't think Jenny Mai has kids. So leave them in Raccoon. I love it. Leave them in Raccoon City. That's a good one. Yeah. And another thing is we got to start to get more sophisticated at how we communicate the information. I see Hammers there, PK King. Shout out to PK. We need to, like, I'm serious. Like, I definitely want to get. I want the Zillennials too to start to have a bigger voice too, because the Zillennials are the ones that are starting to emerge in the dating market as the millennials start to kind of come into the latter stages of the dating market. So the prime dating market. So what they say is obviously going to carry a lot more weight every year that goes by, because what they're saying, because they are the prime dating market. That is what it is. So we got to always keep that in mind, and they're speaking to where things are really going. So anyway, with that being said, I appreciate it. This is Edward signing off. Peace. Shout out to Man Code.